Now I request Shubhra ma'am ji to speak for 5 minutes. Then I'll request Raja ji to speak. Then the two panelists for 5 minutes. Then we'll have a question answers for 15 to 20 minutes. So I welcome everybody. Now I hand over to Shubhra ma'am ji.
Good afternoon, everybody. I mean, I am really impressed with knowing the scope of your membership. Thousands, you said a few thousands. I mean, that means entire country almost is part of you, which is very good. In fact, I was used to be wondering as to because we have 11 export promotion councils and some more want to come up. So I was wondering how the whole sector is segregated into such small parts and pieces. But it's good to know that we have one platform where a large chunk of our textile, people are there, because this is also needed. Now, I would say that PLI scheme and then PM Mitra. Actually, I'm looking after PM Mitra scheme also, which is a mega textile park. So these schemes, I would say, kind of start a new era in textile. In the sense, so far, as you all know, that small scale is extremely important to us. The looms are extremely important to us because they generate, lakhs of employment, and it is built into the fabric of the nation. However, when we come to PLI and when we come to PM Mitra parks, I would say here the government and the country is starting to talk about scaling of production. We are talking about big size. We are talking about working at the global level. Everywhere we have seen that the size of the industry, the individual size, and the together as a group, the size, that is where it has always been identified as a problem in textile sector. I have heard the word fragmented industry right from every paper. The second line starts that the Indian textile industry is very fragmented. Now, if that is in a way a plus point when we are talking about the small scale and medium scale and involving all the people into that. However, when you are talking about fulfilling the aspirations of the country, you see, we are presently 140 crores, and in next 20 years we are going to be 160 crores. So the need of fabric, the need of cloth, the need of garments for all that population, plus the fact that we can be, with our inherent strength of raw materials, cotton being here, jute being here, and now we are setting up on the synthetic fiber front. So we can in fact become such a significant player in the whole world. So you see, textile is something which it's not going to be like, if you are used to textiles once, you will not use it. No, it's like an everyday requirement. It's like agriculture. That's why I would say it's so much akin to agriculture. आप हर रोज खाना भी खाएंगे, हर रोज कपड़ा भी पहनेंगे. So this is like a requirement which is there forever. And it is, I would say, more important than agriculture because it is a part of the industrialization. It can create more jobs. Today we are saying that agriculture gives the highest number of employment. Next 20, 25, 30 years, I would want to be in a situation where we should claim that textile is the largest employer of the masses of the country. And it is doable because on one front we are going agriculture, more of mechanization. So maybe the number of people, the land size is decreasing. So it is not able to support the families, the rural families. That is why we always say the farmer is a poor farmer. Because such a small land size is not able to support the whole family. Whereas when we come to the industrialization, when we come to the textile, it is in the forefront of industrialization. Now, whatever you all know the history of textiles better than me. So there were some mistakes, I would say, there were some failed experiments, but then there have been many successes also. So let's look forward to it. And with the PLI, I would say that we are talking about scaling up the production. We are scaling up the size. This scheme is limited for the time being for a sector of man-made fiber and technical textile, because those are the two places I would say where we are lagging behind. You see, cotton is an extremely important sector for us, and we are champions and will remain the champions. But don't forget the fact that everything is as per the production of cotton. Now, production of cotton has its own limitation. We may be talking about increasing productivity, we may be talking about increasing acreage, but still it will have a limitation. Whereas man-made fiber, man-made yarn, man-made fabric, that's like a factory-made thing. That means I can scale it up as much as it is possible to scale up. With the bigger players of Indorama coming in and many other bigger players, I would want Reliance, and, to set up their raw material factories, PTA, MEG का जो हमारा capacity है, I think last 20 years में that capacity has not increased. Now, if I am going to be talking about MMF, I need raw material. I can't be importing raw material, making yarn here, and then again this is not going to work. So I would just government is there to handhold. We will be open to suggestion as to what we can do so that the entire chain, our entire supply chain, right from the raw material to finished garments of man-made fiber, we are here. We are here to fulfill the demand, domestic demand, and we are there to fulfill the world demand. I see it as a very, very doable thing. So I would just welcome everybody, and I would want to give my wishes to all of you that for the PLI, I would say just take it as a signal that the government is now launched on a mission of thinking big. And I'm hoping all of you are with us. And similarly, in the PM Mitra Mega Textile Park, I am expecting 6 state governments to come up with the proposals. And because the land area is 1,000 acres, so let's hope that we do find some good proposals, and then we'll go ahead and implement that also. And it is just a signaling. Let's say how it operates, and then we can just take it forward. So already the response is really good. I have got more than 30 registrations, 40 registrations, and some of the applications are complete. So we look forward to it. And if there are any issues in the implementation of the scheme, there are suggestions which we can make it better. We are with you. We are your partners. It's not like this side of the table or that side of the table. So that's my from the ministry side. That's my promise to you, that you will find textile ministry very, very, I would say, a partner which is there with you through and through. Yes, all the best.
As I told you, she's a very dynamic lady, and of course, ma'am, I'll just brief you. We have just had our Polyester, Textile and Apparel Association meeting, and where we have decided already, we have that we are going to our 10 man-made fiber players are going to invest around 11,000 crore of expansions in next 2 years. Bilosa, Reliance, Indorama, Well-known, Filatex, Bombay Dyeing, these are all our members. So under your guidance, and we'll grow, man-made fiber will grow along with the cotton and viscose fiber. So now I request Raja Harvinder Singh ji from Tata to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Vij. Good morning, Shubhra ma'am. Thank you for your comments. I think you have rightly pointed out, that we've been traditionally very strong in cotton, but I think man-made fiber is where the real growth can come in. I would like to start by thanking Mr. Datta for inviting me here. Mr. Venkat, who's our CEO, he was supposed to be here, but due to some urgent issues, he couldn't do it. And thank you, Mr. Vij, for a very comprehensive introduction of mine. I can share, because my initial first 15-20 years of career was in exports, where I was working as a country manager for a global retailer. So I have that experience of working as a retail buyer for a global company, and now I work with Tata Trent Westside. So first, I would like, I will begin by thanking the government for this PLI scheme for textiles, which is specifically aimed for boosting the production of man-made fiber, apparel, and technical, textiles. I think this scheme is a great step, a great and right step in creating the MMF ecosystem. Coming from the perspective of a retailer or end user of, where we buy, we don't manufacture anything ourselves. Buy from our garment manufacturers from across India and, across the world. while we source, being Tata, our ethos is that we want to buy mostly made in India product. I mean, we are very proud of doing that, and we want to, in fact, buy everything from India. So 95% of our, what we buy in apparel and textiles is from India. But there is certain category of product, mainly in man-made fibers, where we have to, go outside and, buy products from there. And I think with this step, with the investments, which will happen in this ecosystem, the production of man-made fiber, the quality fabric, the economies of scale will happen. And for a retailer like us, and also our competitors or peers like Reliance or Aditya Birla or all the big retailers in India, and also for global retailers, it's everybody is watching this with big interest. That lot of garment manufacturers we've spoken to, they say, oh, this is mainly for the big guys, it's for the textiles. How is this going to affect us? But we, as far as I think, my understanding is that down the chain, if you're having access to right quality of fabrics, right quality of fiber, it will percolate down to fabrics. It will increase, definitely give competitive. Today, we are paying. Not us, but our vendors are paying import duties on fibers and fabrics when they import from overseas. So that will come down if the production is happening locally. That will increase the competitiveness, and it will. Apart from that, when I see as a sourcing person, the production is very restricted to few areas. For example, knits we go to Tirupur for, or Ludhiana, or we go to Bangalore for wovens. So this will increase investment in tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 cities, where I think it will also lead to employment generation. And in my opinion, it's a great step in right direction. As a retailer, we are very excited and we are very thankful to the government that this is happening. It will make our intention to buy locally, and also it will help. From my previous experience, I always remember that we were always focused when we were talking to our international colleagues and sitting in Europe or America. They used to think India is only cotton, and no matter how hard we try to push for man-made fiber production out of India, they would say, no, you guys are not competitive. We want to go to China or Vietnam for that. And I think with this step, this will open a lot of doors to international retailers, as well as, like ma'am rightly pointed out, we are going to be 160 crores. And just to share with you, at Trent, despite the pandemic, we have been, very, very bullish. The sales have been very good, especially after the second wave. The markets opened up. We took, I would say, 20 years to reach to a level of 150 stores. But in this year only, we have opened another 50 stores and, 250 stores for our other brand. So similarly, all the big retailers have, very, very ambitious plans, and to cover this demand, it can only happen when our industry is stronger, it is bigger, it can produce efficiently, give that international quality of product. So not only just don't look at the export market, which is obviously very big, but also domestic market is is looking at this very, very interestingly, that how we can today, a lot of buyers, a lot of retailers are going to Bangladesh. Look at Bangladesh. I used to manage Bangladesh, and I remember they used to be in about 15 years ago between 10 to 15 billion dollars. Today they're at 30 billion dollars of exports. But what is the difference between India and Bangladesh is that they don't have fiber and fabric supply chain there in their country. So that is a big strength. If we add on to the strength we have in cotton, and we become stronger in man-made fibers and technical fibers, I think it will only add to the competitiveness of our country. So with that, I think I would like to hand over to my fellow panelists, Kapil or Debar. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm very, very happy to be here and very looking for an interesting discussion over this webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Rajaji. As you said, and ma'am also said, Mitra Park are there. So a lot of our members are going to Bhopal, to Odisha, now they are not concentrating on Ludhiana, Tirupur and other things. This Mitra Park will be very good. Under one roof, you will get all facilities. So we will also be taking the benefit of this mega parks. Mega parks are there. So now, as Cretum Advisor is our partners with the Textile Association of India, and now I'll request Mr. Kapil Mahani ji to say about something about their company and about PLI. What to say?
Thank you, Mr. Vij, the entire Textile Association of India and Shubhra ma'am, in a very short span of notice, she accepted the invitation, and so that shows the willingness and the way the government is working for the industry. With only 1 day of short notice, she accepted and she made the time possible for the entire industry. So that itself speaks that there is a change which is happening in the entire trade. So thank you, ma'am, and thank you for giving us time. And over to Mr. Raja, since Tata is always a sourcing partner, so for us, so from the Tata to have a presentation that what is their view on the point of the industry on the PLI scheme. So that was very important. So that's why thank you, Mr. Raja and the entire team of Tata for taking out time and presenting your views on the PLI and the entire textile. So about the Cretum Advisory, Cretum Advisory is a multidisciplinary firm wherein there are multiple partners, including me. I am an indirect tax partner and working aggressively on the Invest India schemes with our global partners in making the theme of impetus for investment in India. We have done multiple programs with Invest India as well as other PLI schemes. So PLI, this scheme is a continuation of the other schemes which were earlier launched on the production on to making the scheme of Make in India. So today, what we will be presenting more on the technical aspect, because the entire industry, the scheme has been launched, and with the benefit yesterday we got the extension from the ministry till 14th of February. So earlier it was 31st. So I would like to tell everyone that earlier this scheme was valid from 1st till 31st of December. So now the ministry has extended this timeline for the participants to come and join this scheme and make the commitment for the investment under the PLI and take the incentives from the government under the Make in India concept. So now I will take this session to the technical aspect so I'd like to present. So as we just mentioned, that production link incentive is the theme of our Honorable Prime Minister of India, the subsidy to boost the local manufacturing, and it also gives the company incentives on incremental sales from the product manufactured from the domestic market. So this scheme PLI, which we call a production link incentive, which is entirely linked, the budget which is being set for this scheme is 10,683 crores, wherein the incentive will be available for the period of 5 years from 2025-26 to 2029-30. And if there is an investment which is required to be made in this scheme, which we will discuss in detail, and the scheme was initially planned for applications from 1st of January 2022 to 31st December, which is now being extended till 14th of February. And this scheme is entirely need to be filed online, so there is no hard copy which is required to be submission and making this possible. So every PLI scheme is automated and everything has to be filed online. So we'll discussing about there are two parts of the scheme. One part of the scheme is which requires the minimum investment which needs to be put in the for the companies which are looking to invest in the notified products. So we will discuss the list of the notified products, but mainly it is evolving around the man-made fabrics and also certain specific technical textile products which are manufactured in India. So there is a list of products which are being notified, and these notified products for which you need to have a separate company and do the investment into that company into the eligible investment criteria, which are mainly into the plant and machinery equipment. So we'll discuss about the kind of investment which needs to be put in which category of projects and what are the eligible investment criteria. The first part of the scheme is with regard to who, for all those investors who are looking to invest in the pipeline of 2022-2024 of 300 crores. And the second part of the scheme is wherein the minimum investment which is required is 100 crores in the eligible investment category. And once if you are investing in your 300 crores, then a minimum turnover which you need to achieve for eligible for the incentive from the first year will be 600 crores. It is double the investment which you are keeping in your company for the into the textile sector for the notified products. And similarly, once you are keeping in the scheme part 200 crores, then the minimum turnover which is required to be achieved from the day one is from the after the investment, which we'll discuss from which year the turnover has to be achieved, which will be 200 crores. So and the scheme, the prescribed rate which is being under the both the categories is from 15 till 7%. So in the first part of the scheme, the rate of incentive will be from 15% to 11% depending upon the year. So the first year performance year for the incentive year is 2024 and 25, and from that year till the year last year, which will be 11%. So it's a reducing rate from 15%. Every year it will reduce to 1%, but there is a minimum turnover which you need to achieve in the incremental years. So that which turnover which is being prescribed by the government under the scheme is minimum of 25%, and you can also exceed that percentage, but that capping is being provided under the law till of 10%. So up till 35% you can take the incentives, but beyond that the incentive will not be eligible over and above to 35% of the incremental production. And the second part of the scheme which I discussed in terms of 100 crores, when you are investing your 100 crores, then on the performance year 2024-25, you can achieve 200 crores. That is a minimum investment, minimum. Even if you are investing 150 crores, then the minimum turnover which you need to achieve in the first performance year is 2 times. That's one of the criteria, and that maximum incentive which you can achieve in first year is up to 2 times plus the 10% maximum capping which is being provided, and beyond that the incentive will not be eligible from the first year. So if in the first year if you are achieving more than 2 times plus additional 10%, then you will be only eligible for the incentive on that capping, which is up to 2 times plus 10% of the investment. Which I've just discussed that for the subsequent years. So let's suppose we'll discuss with the examples as well. So let's suppose you have put your investment in year 1 of 300 crores and you are achieving your 600 crores in the year 1. So in the performance year. So if you see this, So if you'll see this example, the person who has invested 300 crores and the 300 crore investment has to be put in with the gestation period from 2022-23 and 23-24. And in these 2 years, you can put your investment of 300 crores and even more than that. But 300 crores is one criteria in the scheme 1 and 100 crores is the minimum criteria in scheme 2. Even if you want to exceed that investment, you can put in, but that exceeding of investment, that first year for which you need to achieve the target is 600 crores. So if you'll see the example 300 crores, then 600 crores is the minimum turnover which you need to achieve. And if you are achieving 660 crores, then you will still be eligible, because at the end of the day, you are not exceeding the threshold. The 2 times of the investment plus 10% is eligible. So if you see the 2 times 600 and 10% again is 660. So if you are achieving till that ceiling, you are. But if you are achieving the turnover of 670 crores or 680 crores, then you will still be eligible for 660 crores. And the next year, which is the 2025 to 26, then that year will be for the incremental. So you need to achieve, and you will be given the incentive on the incremental, which is 150 turnover. On the 150 turnover, you will be again given the incentive, but that 25% appreciation has to be done in the incremental year. So if you will see, if you will not achieve the minimum of 750, and if you are achieving 700, assuming, then in those scenarios you will not be eligible for the investment, the incentive in that particular year, and you will be eligible for incentive in the subsequent year when you achieve your threshold of a 25% incremental turnover. So that is what we have explained in this slide. Maximum cap on investment. So there will be provision of cap of 10% over and above the prescribed minimum turnover growth of 25% for the purpose of calculation of incentive from year 2 onwards. And turnover achieved beyond the cap will not be taken into account for calculations. However, for year 1, which we have discussed, if you are within the limit of 2 times plus 10% additional, then you will be eligible for the incentive for that turnover. And turnover which is achieved beyond the 2 times plus 10% shall not be accounted for the incentives. So this the formula which is being derived or being given for calculating the net incremental sales is already, which is without the taxes, and the rate of the incentive has to be multiplied to arrive at the incentive numbers. But it is very much so, there are certain conditions which needs to be fulfilled for arriving this. When you are doing the turnover and you are dealing with your group companies for those supplies, then what is the valuation that needs to be adopted? And also when you are self-consuming those products, the notified products, whether the self-consumption is a part of it, whether the investments which we are keeping in for the roads and plant machinery, and apart from plant machinery, administrative building, whether the building investment in building will be allowed, that all things we'll discuss in the subsequent slides. So if you'll see, we have just discussed this example of how this investment these needs to be, and the turnover which needs to be achieved. So if you'll see this example in 2024, the first year is 660, which we have achieved. In 2026-27, if you will see the 937 minus 750, then the second 14%. So the first year was 15%, and the second year, if you are not achieving the 10, then the percentage of the second year which was eligible, even if you are not achieving your incremental, that percentage will be given in the third year on the incremental. So that is very important. So you will not lose the incremental percentage if you will not achieve the investment and the turnover in the particular year. So the turnover, so if you will not achieve your turnover in the first year, that is 2024 and 25, then your first year will start from 2025, 25, 26, and that percentage will be applied from 15%, not from the percentage of the subsequent year. And second important thing is, if your investment of 300 crores or 100 crore, which are a minimum under two parts of the scheme, if you are not achieving your investments till 2024, then even the first year, if you will achieve your investment and you will also achieve your turnover, both the things in a particular year, then you will still be eligible for the incentives in the first year and with the performance year. So performance year and the investment year are two important years. Investment year starts from 2022 to 2024. However, it is also being clarified that you will still be eligible for the investment which you have done from September, which on this 29th of September, from which 2021, when this scheme was launched. So if you have already made some investment, then that investment will be eligible under your eligible investment criteria. So if you'll see this example, then the minimum prescribed turnover is 600, and the second is 750, and you are achieving 891. So you will still be eligible. And third year, you are achieving 1202, and the minimum criteria was 937. So you will be eligible for the incremental turnover when you are achieving a maximum capping of 35% is being given. And if you are within that limit, then you will be eligible for the investment. And so now with the general conditions, I would request my co-speaker, Vishakha, to take this aspects with the conditions. Vishakha, over to you.
Thanks, Kapil. Mahani ji. I'll just add one or two points. This scheme is so designed well that if you are if you are selecting 100 crore investment, you can invest 250 crores also. So your eligibility becomes from 200 crore itself. So
yes,
you can invest more. You will get more. And another thing, the government is very free and fair. Will do the selection. They have kept 100 points of certain categories. So there is no hanky-panky will be there. So each category has 10 to 20 points. So you yourself can calculate and get selected for this scheme also. Sorry, now I'll hand over to Vishakha ji.
Yeah, in fact, definitely what you said is correct. And in fact, this scheme is designed considering all the parameters into hand, that more investment should come, and with the more investment for your first performance year, you will be start with more incentives, wherein the capping of double the investment, twice the investment which you are peeping in, plus 10% you will be eligible. So if more investment means more incentives. So Vishakha. Vishakha, you are on mute.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Kapil, Mahani and Mr. Vij. Now, moving forward, there are certain do's and don'ts that should be considered while preparing the application for the scheme and while availing the incentives. The first criteria, the first general condition that should be considered is that the company should file the application under the existing registration under the PLI scheme. But if the company gets the approval from the government, then the company needs to take the separate registration under the Companies Act, right? Then there will be the separate records for the input and the output. For the separate records needs to be maintained. And further, while moving the products from the factory, from the premises, there should be a tagline that made in India. There should be a tag made in India on each product. Then if the company is achieving the turnover from the trading or the job work, that will not be accounted for the incentives. Basically, the scheme is being given to the manufacturers who are manufacturing these products. Those who are in the process of trading or in the job work, they will not be eligible for this scheme. There are there are certain things that if the group company, if there is a group company and they are filing the multiple applications in the scheme, then only the one application will be selected, and the company needs to highlight that which company needs to be selected for the scheme. The government has given this opportunity to the company to mention that which should be given the priority to be selected under the PLI scheme for availing this incentive. Next, then there are certain parameters which needs to be considered, like there is a selection criteria under this scheme. There is a selection criteria under this scheme wherein the marks which is being given on the basis of that criteria. The first criteria is that the financial capacity, wherein the company has to provide the turnover and the reserves and surplus of the last 3 financial years. On the basis of that, the company will be given the preference for the selection under this scheme. Further, there are certain also parameters like what is the basis, the relevant experience and the technical capacity. Then the third is a location. Location is the most important criteria wherein the marks is being decided according to the states. There are 3 categories, category A, B, C, wherein the states are being defined on the basis of which the marks preference has been allotted by the government. Then the fourth is of investment, wherein the marks has been allotted according to the investment which has been decided by the applicant, which is being made by the applicant during the gestation period. Then there are certain points which needs to be highlighted while filing the application, that what will be the direct employment that will be additionally added during this manufacturing process, or what will be the product line on the basis of which the preference will be given by the company to the by the government to the company. Then the next one is there is a
Vishaka, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Shall we move forward?
Yes.
Then there are certain conditions of investment wherein that the company needs to make an investment in the new plant and machinery. There are certain like if we see the other PLI schemes wherein the government has mentioned that the company may invest in the existing plant and machinery for manufacturing the notified products. But in this scheme, it has been clearly mentioned that the company has to make an investment in the new plant and machinery. And that new plant and machinery can be purchased or can be taken on the lease. But that lease should be on the financial lease. Then the coming to next is the building and civil construction. Then if the investment is being made in the construction of factory building, it should be considered for the calculation of investment. But the administrative building or the residential building shall not be considered for the purpose of investment. So this investment needs to be made by the company from financial year 22. This investment needs to be made after the approval is being given by the government, and this investment needs to be made till 31st March 24. If the company is unable to make an investment till 31st March 24, then the government has provided an opportunity to the company that the investment can be made in the first performance year, that is in the financial year 24-25. So if we see that investment can be made, total investment that is 300 crores or the 100 crores can be made by an applicant till 31st March 25.
Yeah, I think we will also like to, you would like to mention on the R&D and testing and associated utilities.
Yes, that the company needs to make an investment in the R&D in the testing laboratory up to only 10% of the total project cost. So there is a notified percentage that has to be made in the R&D and the testing laboratories. Then the next is associated utilities. that the company has to make a fresh investment in this associated utilities to avail the benefit. If the company has already made an investment in the existing utilities, then the benefit will not be given. Then there is a certain, the government has prescribed the checklist that these certain documents needs to be uploaded while filing the application on the portal. So this application will be filed from the existing registration that has been taken under the Companies Act 2013. So post this approval, if the post approval from the government, the company has to take separate registration. So the documents that will be submitted while filing the application as the copy of the PAN, the corporate identification number, IEC certificate, financial soundness position, the audited financial statements of the last 3 financial years. Then the resolution from the board of directors has to be submitted that the company is ready to for the constitution of new company and they are intended to invest in the PLI scheme. Then the detailed manufacturing process or the flow chart of the notified products has to be prescribed while filing the application. Then there is a suggested steps that needs to be done while preparing the application. That first, the company needs to identify the products, whether these products that are covered under the PLI scheme or not. Then there's a post identification of the products, the discussion with the management of the company that needs to be done. Then the company post analyzing the products, then the company needs to analyze the amount of investment that needs to be made while filing the application and post the investment. Then the company needs to prepare and submit the application. And post the submission, the follow-up with the authorities needs to be done. Then there is a illustrative product list that are covered under the PLI scheme. If we see that the MMF apparels, that all the products are being notified under the MMF apparels and fabrics, but there are certain products that are not notified under the technical textiles. Like if we see that there are geo textiles or the agro textiles, that these products are not notified yet, these are to be notified yet. So the company can avail the benefit of the incentive scheme under these products.
These are the list of products. If you can see, mobile textile, sports textile, productive textile, building and construction on textile, specialty fibers and composites, smart textiles embedded with active devices for medical defense and special. This is about the scheme, and now this is about the question answer questions wherein we can answer, and also if any of the questions wherein which are more technical and which cannot be answered at this stage, we can take it to the ministry office for discussion and explanations.
Thank you, Vishakha ji. I'll just add 1 or 2 more plus point of this scheme. Any foreigner can apply, can register also. And second thing is there, this is, so first you apply, when your application is approved, then only you can make a new company. It is not necessary that you have to make a new company. These are the another 1 or 2 things are there. So I think thanks for all. Now we open for the question answers. So I'll request Kapil Mahani ji because to hold all these things. So whosoever now will raise the hand, and then you will ask the question. You can ask the question, and the concerned person will reply.
Yes. So I think if we can see the chat, we can also see some questions. Ministry to solve queries and doubt to enable the company representative to properly file the application with clear understanding of the scheme. So I think there was one question.
Let them. The person should ask. Now Mr. Deepak is raising the hand. So let's. They should ask the question directly. If I think so.
So I think giving them the consent will be more technical and will take time. So I think it's better that if someone can put in the chat forum and we can take all the questions from there. That will be the best way to take all the questions. Otherwise, giving them and accepting them will be more time taking process.
Okay, so you only mention the name, the person who is.
Okay, so that's what I'll be covering all the questions from the chat box. So whosoever has needs to put in. So one of our team is also recording this. So wherever if any question will not be answered, we will try to take this and take up after the session as well. And also if that cannot be answered from us from the technical perspective, then we will also take it from the department. So one question which Mr. Kuntal Pandit, is there any forum in the ministry to solve the queries and doubt to enable the company representative to properly file the application with clear understanding of the scheme? So one is that, yes, there are coordinates which are available, but understanding of the scheme has to be done with some of the company representative in a session with some persons who are working on this scheme. And yes, there are queries, and we are also working with ministry on taking certain assistance whenever there is any clarity which is required from the technical perspective. So both things are available, and the numbers will be shared once this session will be over.
I think those who have raised their hands, they can unmute themselves and they can put the question. We have given them the access of
okay.
That, right?
Okay. That will be better.
So they can unmute them, right? But they have to raise the hand first. Then we can give the access to, right, sir?
So one
I think
one.
Shubhashi, Surji, Deepak ji, Mr. Ajit ji, and Mr. Gurdas ji, they can raise their questions.
Is someone asking the question, or we'll take the chat box question?
Better someone asking the question, then the interest will be there. So I think few questions will be there, not more questions will be there.
Shubhashi ji, please unmute yourself and please raise the question. Deepak Kharedi ji, please unmute yourself.
So in the meanwhile, if someone is not asking, I'll take up the question so that this session will go on.
I think Ajit ji is raising the question, Kapil. Ajit ji is raising the question.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Ajit Patnaik from TITS Bhiwani. I have a simple question. Because nowadays the circular economy is in place, we are more concerned about the synthetic fibers and its effects on the pollution. So it's our major concern now how to avoid this use of synthetic fibers and use more sustainable fibers. So it should be focused on to use more sustainable fibers for our apparels to avoid this one. So can we do something to enhance the usability of the newly developed sustainable fibers like soybean and some other natural fibers? Can we do this? That's. Am I audible?
Mr. Vij,
I'll just tell you, the answer is that this PLI scheme is being made for certain HSN code. You can, sir, you can go through that HSN code, and then if you are coming in that HSN code, you can try for that product. So for the development of this sustainability and other things, we'll be taking a separate section in next month on new fibers and sustainability.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
In fact, in case you need to have to understand what are the HSN categories which are covered, we'll be happy, and anyone who needs to take any questions, so we can they can raise the questions on the email as well, info@Cretum Advisory. We'll be happy to answer. And in case if certain products are which are very much required and which is an industry and in consultation with Textile Association, we can also see that whether any representation needs to be filed for that specific product.
I think Bharatji has written one question that if we could not achieve the required turnover in the performance year, also if in the first year 150 crore and next year we achieve 100 crore, how much benefit we will get?
Vishaka, are you trying?
Yes. So in this, the company must achieve the prescribed turnover, and the prescribed turnover is that in the first scheme, the company needs to achieve the 600 crore turnover, and in the second scheme, the company needs to achieve the 200 crore turnover. If the company is not able to achieve the prescribed turnover in the first year, then if the company is able to achieve the prescribed turnover in the second year, then the company will get the incentive from the second year at the rate of 15% or the 11%, as the case may be.
Yes. Thanks. Sir.
So can we apply for a phase 1 for 100 crore and phase 2 for 300 crore?
Yeah. No, because there is a phase 1 is only for the 300 crores and phase 2 part 2 scheme is only for the 100 crores.
Yes, only one application you can put.
Yes.
Only one application, even for the entire group. That is also very important for the notified products. And whether you are filing for 150, so you need to achieve that 150. So you need to tell your investment on the day one, what is the committed investment. And also, if any products which you get notified and approved, if you want to increase those products, then also a separate application of approval needs to be filed. Next, we can take
only MMF fabric and garments are covered under the scheme, or how about the blended with the cotton, where export demand is also high or is big?
I think there is a confusion in your mind. This entire scheme is only for man-made sector and technical textiles. So have no doubts on that front that the products are cotton or silk or jute. No, natural fiber is not there. There are so many other schemes which are already existing and which support those sectors. So it's not that we are excluding them. It's just that those sectors, smaller ones, are already covered under various schemes, SITP, IPDS and everything. But this particular PLI has been envisaged for man-made fiber, fabric and garments, as well as technical textile, because technical textile is also an emerging area and India is very small compared to the global thing. Per capita consumption of technical textile is also very low. So we thought we'll increase the penetration. So that's the basic this thing, and you will have to select whether you want to go to the scheme 1 or scheme 2. So midway you can't switch over from 300 to 100 or 100 to 300. It's like you choose your lane and then please stick to your lane like that.
Yes.
But let's say I have a simple question. Say I'm in a lane of 100, but because of the demand of my product, I want to move to 300 or 500. So I need to stick back.
So that cannot be done.
That presently cannot be done. Let's see how it evolves, and if you see, since nothing is cast in stone, but as of now we thought we need to know, because please keep it in mind that we have a budgetary allocation of 10,600 crores. Now, as soon as I say budgetary allocation, that means how many proposals I will be able to accept and give go ahead. All that becomes limited. Why? Because let us say you assume a theoretical scene where I have approved a project of 300 crore, which gives me a turnover of 600 crore. From its incentive year 1, they are going to get 15%. That means 90 crore they are going to get back. And then year after year, then 25% पे incremental growth पे उनको benefit मिलता जाएगा. So that means in one project I have a certain cost assigned to one approval, and similar for 100 crores. So all that budget allocation के हिसाब से जो मेरे हाथ में आज जो पैसा है उसके हिसाब से मैंने कुछ चीज proposals approve करूंगी, because I am committed to give you that benefit up to 29-30. Now, midway, if we get more budget or if the industry response is no, it's so nice that they say no, हमने 100 crore envisage किया था, but all of us want to go to the 300 or a 500 crore का investment. I don't know as of now, but when I answer you today I'm saying that whatever you between it becomes an agreement. Then I give you the approval letter. Then it becomes an agreement between government and you. Okay, you will bring in that much investment. You will do that much turnover. You can always do more turnover. For incentives, I will have a maximum cap of 25% of the incremental growth plus another, another 10% I can take it. So that's for the incentive purposes I have to, because somewhere I have to draw the line that how much can I give, because I have a budgetary constraint.
And then in fact, just to add in from the technical side, what ma'am has said, in fact, what we have seen in some of the schemes like MEIS as well, wherein the person is eligible for filing, but the budget has over. So if these things will happen tomorrow, then at the end of the day, there are sufferers who are already being put the investment, but they are not getting the incentive out of it. So that is one of the rationale which we have seen with the MEIS scheme, wherein people are eligible, but the budget is over from the government.
You can have next question.
Yes.
So is there any restrictions to avail any other government benefit if PLI benefit has already taken?
No, there is none. You can parallelly simultaneously take other benefits. You can still claim ROSC, you can still claim your rod tap, you can still claim whichever benefits are there.
Can one apply for ATUFS scheme in addition to PLI? I think ma'am has categorically mentioned PLI is always additional. So whatever you are claiming.
But ATUF will come into picture when you already have loom. You are talking about upgradation. Here we are going to be setting up a new company. You are going to be starting from scratch, and you will be setting up which industry again. You see, either the integrated plan or a standalone plan. So just see the basic activity which you are taking in this, and under the TUF what you are doing. So I think those activities are absolutely different. So Mr. Vij will explain further.
Yeah, that's right, ma'am. Because tough is a separate things is there, but in this under this PLI scheme, you will get all state benefits, all center benefits plus PLI. So if I have calculated within 5 years, 50% our money comes from the government under PLI scheme. Rest we are getting the advantage of profit and other things. I think within 3 years, if your project is good and you are doing well, within 3 years, 4 years, you get all your money back. So next question, please.
How will this scheme address to the growth of MSME sector, as the investment cap is already on the higher side? Apparently, from the scheme to look like only bigger player and financially strong player will get the benefits.
Correct. You are very right. Because this is for that. This is for the bigger players. It's high time that we have to start start joining hands with the bigger players. For the smaller MSME and everything, there, as I have told you, I'm repeating third time, there are a plethora of schemes run by various ministries, including Ministry of Textiles. In fact, आपको पता होगा कि garments तो पहले reserved ही थे small scale के लिए. अभी 20 साल पहले तो हमने allow किया है. And that is the reason which we keep saying the industry is fragmented. So उनके लिए नहीं है ये स्कीम. उनके लिए SITP अभी भी है और दूसरी बहुत सारी स्कीम है. हर स्कीम हर प्लेयर के लिए नहीं हो सकती ना.
Correct.
Okay. If we want to target, I think there are more political questions also. I don't want to take those things. But I think from the technical aspects, it's better we ask those questions so that the forum can answer. It's not a political discussions here.
Yes. Now Mr. Naveen is there, Mr. Subhash Puri is there. They can ask the question.
I think it is a very good time that itself the ma'am is answering those replies. So it's more authentic. It's more technical from the policy makers.
This is Naveen Agrawal, Vice President, AT Enterprises Private Limited, heading the fabric farming. First of all, I would say that whatever scheme government is coming up so far has added the value to the industry, and we are seeing as a barometer of industry as a textile machinery supplier how the investments are happening. And since the top scheme came, and now the top scheme will be modified further to TTDS, Textile Technology Development Scheme. We are seeing much more bigger picture of textile industry with this PLI scheme. Maybe when we talk about the MSME and all, I don't think it will fit. But for the big industry, which is required for the man-made, surely it should help. We should look at the next 10 years, not the next 2 years. Only the thing is that the incremental turnover increase every year by 20% and all. Whether 25. This will happen in 25%. Sorry, whether this will happen in textile. I think textile is not the company where the profits need to be searched from the setup. So there, I think those things many people are thinking that whether should get into such complications or not. We are talking to many of our customers. They are eager to get into technical textiles, synthetics and all. They say we get into that, but if tomorrow our turnover does not increase after the moratorium of 2 years, from third year 25% onward. So is there any thought process been worked? Maybe for mobile or automobile company or other companies, whatever PLI scheme you have done, the volumes are quite big already. But in textile, हम लोग हर एक कदम छाछ को भी फूक के पीते हैं, textile people. So in that scenario, whether it will be helpful to the textile industry.
सर इसमें बहुत ही क्लियर है कि अगर आप 5 साल में 1 साल भी अगर वो अचीव कर लेते हो, चाहे फर्स्ट ईयर, चाहे सेकंड ईयर या थर्ड ईयर, फोर्थ ईयर, आपको जो बेस वाला है इंसेंटिव मिलेगा. सपोज मैं 300 करोड़ का प्रोजेक्ट लगाता हूं और 2 साल के बाद या 3 साल के बाद मैं 600 करोड़ का टर्नओवर ले लेता हूं, तो मुझे सीधा ही 45 करोड़ का वो 600 पे 15%, 90 करोड़ तो मुझे उसी टाइम मिल जाएगा. ये एक स्कीम में बहुत खासियत इन्होंने रखी है कि ये नहीं है कि 5 साल ही आपको टर्नओवर बढ़ाना है. एक बारी भी बढ़ गई तो आप स्कीम का फायदा उठा लेंगे. दिस इज द प्लस पॉइंट ऑफ दिस.
अगर नहीं हुआ
एक और चीज सोचिए कि इन दिस स्कीम वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग एन इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑफ 19,000 करोड़. वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग अ टर्नओवर टू बी बिल्ट ऑफ 3 लाख करोड़ and an employment of 7,50,000. So this is what we are envisaging. So when we are envisaging, naturally we are thinking big, and we have taken a sector जहां हम अभी बहुत कम है. So जब आप लो से स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं तो आपका ग्रोथ का ट्रेजेक्ट्री बहुत हाई होता है. और ये ऐसा आइटम नहीं है कि मैंने एक बार लिया तो मैं कई साल लूंगी, कि टीवी और फ्रिज नहीं है ये कि मेरे घर में आ गया तो मैं 5-8 साल से पहले चेंज नहीं करूंगी. So MMF is the new sector which of course industry will need to work out कि किस तरह से backward forward सारा इंटीग्रेशन कैसे करेंगे. और इसमें 25% की ग्रोथ ये बहुत कंसल्टेशंस के बाद आई और बहुत इजी टू अचीव है. और इंटीग्रेटेड प्लांट लगाएंगे तो आपका बहुत ही इजी है ये ग्रोथ इतनी अचीव करना. एंड जैसा कि बताया मिस्टर विज ने कि 300 करोड़ पे 600 करोड़ का टर्नओवर है. आई थिंक उतना तो एक्सपेक्टेड ही होना चाहिए. आप अगर उतना सारा पैसा लगा रहे हैं तो हम लोग तो काफी होपफुल है कि ये हमने जो सोचा है ये बहुत ही डुएबल है. बाकी अब जो फैक्ट्स रहेंगे आने वाले समय पे तब देख लेते हैं क्या है. आप भी प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं, हम भी प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं. देखिए अब असलियत क्या होती है. कुछ जिस तरह खुलती है उस तरह से फिर देखा जाएगा आगे क्या बात है. अभी तो पॉजिटिव ही रहे तो बेटर है. हम लोग अच्छा सोच रहे हैं, आप भी अच्छा सोचिए.
मैडम हम लोग काफी पॉजिटिव है एज ए लीडिंग मशीनरी सप्लायर. हम लोग तो मैं पर्सनली ये सोचता हूँ कि मैं बहुत जल्दी आ गया टेक्सटाइल लाइन में. अभी आना चाहिए था और आगे टाइम तक जो गोल्डन पीरियड तो अभी स्टार्ट हो रहा है. और जिस हिसाब से नई स्कीम आ रही है तो हमको फुर्सत नहीं मिलेगी, इतना जरूर है और बहुत होपफुल है. और ये PLI स्कीम अगर क्लिक कर जाती है तो इंडिया कैन बी द नेक्स्ट बिग डेस्टिनेशन लाइक चाइना फॉर वर्ल्ड टू सोर्स ऑन द लार्ज स्केल. वेरी गुड इनिशिएटिव आइडिया.
वही हमारा भी आइडिया है. और मेगा टेक्सटाइल पार्क में तो हमने स्पेशली टेक्सटाइल मशीनरी को एनकरेज कर रहे हैं. सो आई रियली आई एम होपिंग के मेरे पास स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से अच्छे प्रपोजल्स आए, बिकॉज उसमें हम लोग चाह रहे हैं कि उसमें टेक्सटाइल मशीनरी को भी फोकस मिले.
मैडम आज हमको किसी को भी इंडस्ट्री डालना होता है, वी स्ट्रेट बाय मशीन, वी इंपोर्ट. नथिंग इज गुड अवेलेबल इन इंडिया.
करेक्ट।
अगर टेक्सटाइल मशीन्स जो फॉरेन में बन रही है, जो उन लोगों ने चाइना शिफ्ट किया अपना मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बेस, क्योंकि चाइनीज ने उनको फोर्स किया वहां पर आने के लिए, हम भी उनको इनवाइट कर रहे हैं। अगर वो इंडिया में आते हैं तो इट्स नथिंग लाइक दैट, we can do multifold growth of textile in India. That's for sure, madam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next is
any other question? So I think
I will just like to add one comment. I think the question about, what is the potential? The potential is very simple. Today we are at man-made fiber is, less than $2 billion out of India. The global market is 200 billion. And what ma'am is saying is absolutely right. I think we should be positive, and unless we think big, we'll not achieve there. So let's not feel कि 25% टका नहीं होगा. Somebody mentioned कि गाड़ी के अंदर PLI, I think with 160 crore population here, and overall the trend is toward man-made fiber globally also. So as a retailer, we are looking at 10x in next 5 years for increasing our turnover. So we need players who can think similarly and build up capacities for textiles and apparels.
next question. If it's there, so time, another 2-3 questions, you can take it now.
Yes, so I think one question which has come, which has already been, if we invest 250 crores, can we eligible to take the benefit under PLI? Yes, you are eligible under the scheme 2, and which is of 100 crores. So that is one answer to this.
And इसका मजा क्या है? The fun part of it is if you are going to be investing 250 crores, still आप अगर second में गए तो आपका turnover requirement फिर भी 200 करोड़ ही है और 11% आपको मिल जाएगा.
Yes.
Because the first year का जो performance है वो 600 and 200 वो fixed है.
Fixed, बहुत बढ़िया.
Yeah, Mr. Vij, what about cotton technical textiles? Because we are saying technical textiles, there can be cotton technical textiles also. So can we avail this scheme?
वो इस स्कीम के बाद आएगी. अभी ये सिर्फ मैनमेड फाइबर के लिए.
टेक्निकल टेक्सटाइल में कौन सा आइटम आपके मन में है? टेक्निकल टेक्सटाइल के भी 10 सेक्टर आइडेंटिफाइड है. कौन सा नाम बताइए आइटम का.
मेडिकल टेक्सटाइल्स.
तो मेडिकल टेक्सटाइल में तो ऑलरेडी आइडेंटिफाइड है. अगर उसमें लिस्ट में आपका प्रोडक्ट है तो है.
बिल्कुल.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Medical and hygienic textile is there, which is already notified.
Okay, thanks.
Avinash ji.
Already I asked, sir.
Okay.
Done.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Mr. Subhash ji also asking some question. So if there is no more questions, then we can, thanks to Shubhra ma'am ji and Raja ji and all the guests and all my president from all units from Ahmedabad, Bombay, Delhi, Maharashtra, MP. I thanks everybody, and we will invite you also in the next some another topics we are taking for inverted duty GST structures in next week. So we'll call Ministry of Textile and Petrochemicals and GST councils. Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you. All the best.
And in fact, wherever, since we are managing and handling the entire industry of textiles as a advisors, so wherever we will be required to approach your office, I'm sure we'll get the assistance for the clarification.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. All the best.
Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
Thank you, Mr. Vij.
Thanks.